Hey, welcome to another episode of Freedom on Fire. I'm your host, Robert BOBTV Brown. How are you doing today? Let's talk about Joy Reid again. One of my favorite people on the face of this planet. And it hurts me. It really do. It hurts me to see a sister that is so hackish. One of the queens of the hackish. I really don't know who's in competition. Either is Joy Reid trying to take Rachel Maddow's spot? Is she trying to get up in that 10 o'clock limelight? Because it's pretty locked down, Joy. It's pretty locked down. You basically got this. You basically got Chris Hayes, Rachel Maddows, and what's his face? And I say that on purpose. Now, I'm going to go through her interview with Howard Dean and two other no-name brothers and sisters that's sitting on the panel. And the first thing she do in this interview was she go racist. She called people who do not agree with their narrative of pushing black politicians up the ladder. She calls them, she goes right into the, you're racist. You're sexist. You're racist. Well, first of all, look at me, Joy Reid. I'm a proud black man who understands my Pan-African heritage. And still learning about my Pan-African heritage, which obviously you don't know nothing about. Okay? And not only am I African, but I have a lot of Indian or indigenous people in my blood. Seminole Indian, you name it. So I'm a mixture in my blood. Majority of it is African American, but my grandmother had a lot of Seminole Indian heritage in her. Now let's get into this because this really ticking me off. Let me try to set this up, okay? And let me just say it plain and clear. You Democrats who think that Donald Trump is so bad that you got to jump on our Democratic train because we're a little better. Yes, he's bad. I agree with you. But you're just as bad. You took the crown. You took the belt. You got the trophy when it comes to corruption this year. You cheated and colluded to stab your own in the back. And you still expect people to jump on your train, knowing that you stabbed your own in the back. Are you guys freaking brainwashed? Is this literally a cult and you're mad at people because they want to join your Democratic cult? I'm believing that you are a cult. That you guys, I hear Bill Maher, you got to stop this now. Or you gotta, what are you doing? It's Trump. First of all, I'm going to tell you one more again. Most of Bernie Sanders supporters don't follow Bernie for Bernie. Most Bernie Sanders supporters follow Bernie Sanders because of his platform. Most of Bernie Sanders supporters are independent. They're not Democrats. Right now, your base Democrats are majority of Bernie Sanders supporters. So first of all, for you to ignore the power and the leverage and the popularity of Bernie Sanders is going to be to your demise. Why in the world would you be dumb, stupid, ignorant to look at other candidates who do not poll well, who don't have a shot in hell, when Bernie Sanders is the most popular senator in America? How in the world you get mad at him if he think about running? You should be glad. You should be happy. You should be excited that you got this man as popular as he is, and you've been riding on this popularity. Matter of fact, the only reason you're alive today as a party is because of him. He leaves, you die. 13 million people left you last year, and most of them never came back. Independents are never going to jump on, never ever jump on your train if you got these corporate, what I call alt-right Democrats running for office. They hate that. They disguise that. It's disgusting, and they're not going to touch it. And you can shame them, make them look bit sound bad or whatever. It's not going to happen. They're not coming. Those 13 million people that decide to go independent, they're not going to join your party, and you can't force them and convince them to come back. And the way you're convincing them definitely is not going to get them back. How do you convince somebody to come back to you? By beating on them to come back to you. Really? You're abusing somebody Yeah, you think they're going to come back and be in a relationship with you. Really? Only a dumb person does that. My mama said when she hit you the first time, that's her fault. She's wrong. But the second time she hit you, that's your fault because you're willing to put up with that mess. That's our philosophy. Wake the hell up and realize we're not going to let you abuse us. We're going to develop our own, whether you like it or not. And I don't care if it takes 5 years, 10 years, 100 years. Every year they say this is not time to go the third party. You say that every year. Now it's the time to build a third party. It's always time to build another party. And we don't care what's in the face, what we're facing that may be of horror or that may be of delight. We still need multiple parties in America because we're America. All right, let me get into this disgusting video by Joy Reid. I tell you, she disgustes me by the second. She make my black sisters she bring shame. I never seen a lady kiss up to the Democratic establishment like she does. Maybe Maxine Waters, okay, who I'm not a fan of either. She has done nothing for her district over there in California. I'm gonna let you listen to this disgusting article, and we're gonna chop it down piece by piece. Before we go into this, I saw the movie Django Unchained. Very bloody, very brutal movie. The thing I like about Django Unchained is he did have somebody, a white guy, willing to help him fight for freedom. Not only help him get his freedom, but to help him get his lady back. He was a sucker for love. And he was willing to make sure Django worked to get what's rightfully his wife, his family. I don't see the Democratic Party being that guy. I can possibly see Bernie Sanders being that guy, but as long as he kissing up to the Democratic establishment instead of being his own man, getting some guts and balls, and start fighting for the people instead of the party, and he overwhelmingly got the people on his side, he can make some changes. Now, when it comes to the Democratic Party and these black leaders and these white leaders in the party, they are Candyland. The Democratic Party is Candyland. I don't talk about Republicans because they suck. I don't even waste my energy. But what I got to do is deal with you that's in this party who just brainwash. You act like you're in a cult. Just listen to your talking points and how you shield and kiss up. You're Candyland, DNC. And Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, Howard Dean, they're plantation owners. That is not your plantation, black people. You don't own that, you're just on it. And they're going to use you and pimp you to keep the other slaves in line. They need to have as many Stevens, and you know who Steven is. He's the one that kissed up to Mr. Candy. And when Mr. Candy got shot and died, you're Stevens. And what they're going to do is they're going to put up these Stevens. See, I thought President Barack Obama was a Martin Luther King type dude that didn't take sides of party, that focused on the people. I thought he was going to be a revolutionary like Malcolm X. I thought that. Marcus Garvey. I thought that. Carter. I thought that. Huey Newton. I thought that. I thought he was going to get in office and immediately go to office and fight for his people. Yes, he's the president of the United States, but I thought he was going to fight for his people. Stop the presses, hold up, we're going to take care of my black people first, We're going to get rid of some systemic things, some things that are holding them back right away. 90 days. Bam, bam, bam. I got a list of things I'm going to do with other coaches, but I'm the first black president, and I got to look out for my own. I got to. I'm going to look out for everybody. But my people are behind the barrel, and I need to bring them up to speed. Barack Obama started off that way, but once he got on the plantation, and he became Stephen while Mr. Candy was gone. And Stephen oftentimes is worse than Mr. Candy. When Mr. Candy was gone, and he pulled up on that yard, on his property, Stephen had a black woman down in the hole in the pit. And that black woman was Django's wife. Too many times we have Stevens that's taking over the plantation temporarily, running it, never going to own it, and do nothing, nada, zilch, for the black people that are in that plantation, whether it's the house Negro or the field Negro. He is acting just as worse than Mr. Candy. In the way I see this situation, Joy Reid, your media company works for Mr. Candy. And in turn, you work for Mr. Candy. And you're doing whatever you can to put up the next Stephen. Kamala Harris, Wall Street who take money from Wall Street, who have a horrible record. She's not all that fancy when it comes to her judicial record. Private prison labor and all that kind of stuff. Really? And we'll talk about that in the future. You talking about Deval Patrick? Deval Patrick. Yes, he speak good. A black man who decide to work with Mitt Romney Company, Bain Capital. A millionaire now working. Come on, really? What have he done for the black people lately? What have he done for people lately working in that hedge fund company? Tell me. Cory Booker, who sold the elderly down the street over prescription drugs, Big Pharma, said no to a bill that could save people right away. Lower the prices so I can get my medicine now cheaper. He said no. Stephen, let's go through this. I'm getting frustrated. Okay. All right. First of all, like I said, she got Howard Dean on location. She got a black woman and a black man. Get it? Trying to undermine you, trying to use control opposition, trying to manipulate you blacks. I'm a black man, proud to be a black man. Got this smiling, skinning and grinning, don't know who the heck they are. Skinning and grinning and going to chastise you to make you think what you're doing is wrong, bucking up against these candidates. Let me go ahead and start.
Is that on Monday, there was a Mike.com article that went up, the headline of which was Rising Star Kamala Harris Has a Bernie Land Problem. It quoted several people, including Winnie Wong, who co-founded People for Bernie, who's saying her recent anointing is extremely telling. These donors will line her coffers and she'll had the next 2 years to craft a message of broad appeal, blah, blah, blah. She was very upset that she was getting all this treatment. Then you have Ryan Cooper come out in an article in The Week on Thursday saying similar things, saying why leftists don't trust Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Deval Patrick. Look at that headline. 3 people of color, 3 black Democrats, Kamala Harris is black and Asian American, and saying they are the problem, which set off a whole thing, Zerlina. You had a lot of people get involved. Sam Singh-Yanwei tweeted a tweet storm about it. He got attacked. By several people. And then Brittany Packnett came to his defense and said, wait a minute, I was in meetings, too, with Bernie Sanders, and he had issues talking about race. So now you have the two sides backfighting again. What is happening here?
All right, let's stop for a second. Again, they parade the 3 black people. Good picture. All right? And trying to make it seem like the Bernie wing of the party, which is not the Bernie wing, it's just progressives. A lot of progressives are not on board with the way Bernie handles things. You got a lot of progressives that are greens. You got a lot of progressives that are part of the Progressive Party. They're part of Democratic Socialist Party. They're not all following around Bernie like he's the Pied Piper. I'm definitely not one, and I've campaigned for the man. The moment he turned his back on the people, he lost a lot of my allegiance to him. Okay? And he's never going to get back because I never really gave him one man my allegiance. I only have one allegiance, and even then, I'm struggling with that, and that's with the God that I serve. All right? I don't have no allegiance to no man or woman. I'm my own thinker, Joy Reid, and we have a right to use our own brain. This is not a brainwashing situation, and that's what you're trying to do here. You're trying to brainwash and shamewash people into feeling bad because if you don't support our 3 black candidates, then something wrong with you and you're racist. Look at me, baby girl. I'm black. I was going to be on the Cory Booker train for a second, and then I looked at his records of donors and looked at his record of voting. No, I don't want him. Deval Patrick, the moment you start working for Bain Capital, Mitt Romney, who is against the upliftment of people, and you go and work for a man who is against the upliftment of people, when you don't have to now, you don't have to. You can start your own hedge fund. You can work for any company. You can be all over media. You can get just about any job you want. Deval Patrick can get just about any job he wants. I can't. I have to find a job. But Deval Patrick goes and works for Bain Capital, who is against people, who's against the working people. And you want me to support this guy. How stupid do you think we are? Really, you want us to support a man who may run for president, and Barack Obama is trying to push him to run? Obama, you and all of them, y'all can kiss my big black behind, because I'm not going to sit there and vote for somebody who don't mind working and being friends with people who are against the working class. Yeah, he worked for Bain Capital. And third, I'm not even going to go into Kamala Harris because she's already a sham job. She's Bill Clinton and Hillary. She had Bill Clinton's sexual tendencies. Yeah, I said it. And her record of putting people in prison and have them work for companies for prison profit, private prison. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not even going to go into. The bottom line is, just because they black don't mean that we automatically as black people need to support them. That would be dumb. That's like saying, okay, all right, okay, Idi Amin, I can't even say the word right. He was black. Should I support him? Should I? If Bill Cosby actually raped people, should I support them? Oh, you talking about these crimes? Yeah, well, it's not just about crime. There's things I consider crime. When you're sitting there being buddy and chummy with people who are screwing the people, yeah, you want to represent the people. Sometimes I'm wondering, what kind of crack or flocka or what kind of meth, mollies, I mean, what you guys are on, DNC? All right, now she's saying the ideological purity test that some Bernie Sanders. She's trying to make it seem like we're only a few. Look at, baby, it's the other way around. There's only a few Democrats that actually believe that we shouldn't have a purity test. And it's not a purity test. You can label it all you want. It's not a purity test. It's a no corruption test. You call it purity, we call it no corruption. You call it purity, we say don't even deal with anybody who is corrupt. Work with honest, ethical people. Go figure. Is that a new thing? Did I just come up with a new bright idea? Working with honest and ethical people to make changes for people who are suffering out here in the real land, which includes Bernie land. So you could call it a purity test. We call it a no corruption test. And you can call it whatever you want. That's what it is. And we're going to holler the no corruption test more than you holler purity. Because it's not about purity. It's about no corruption. This chick right here. I mean, she cute and all. Sexy. But I probably couldn't even date her, man, because she's a snobbish, arrogant, elitist. Whatever she do. Her name is Zerlina Maxwell, Director of Progressive Programming for Sirius. No, she's Director of Democratic Programming with Sirius. The name itself, right there. Director of Progressive Programming. What they're trying to do right now is to program the progressives. And she's directing it right now on TV. Yeah, this cute sister. You cute. Your hair look nice. Probably got a nice body. But you are a programming director to progressives. Director of Progressive Programming, really. Because that's just what she's trying to do to us. Keep going.
Because people of color and women who are running for office can't abide by purity tests because of the structural difficulties in running for office. And the bottom line here is you need money to win an election. And if Kamala Harris needs to talk to some big money donors in order to win an election so that we can overturn Citizens United, because you can't do that unless you win an election, I'm not opposed to that. I think that we need to give her an opportunity to shine or not shine.
Yeah.
We shouldn't undercut her before she even begins.
And you're seeing.
All right, people of color who run in office can't abide by the purity test. No, stop it. Stop it, sister. What you're saying is people of color cannot abide by a no corruption test. Because that's all purity is. This thing that you label purity is what we really call no corruption. And you can't pass that test because your party is steeped in it, just like the Democratic Party. And we're saying we want our politicians to get out of that. And if you're not going to get out of it, we're not going to keep you in it. You're gone. We're not compromising. We're taking over. We're going to find somebody that's going to serve the people. And if they do not pass the no corruption test, whether it's now or in the future, they're gone. They may pass now. Listen to me. Because I know some of you are going to fake like you're no corrupt. But we'll find out. Believe me. We'll find out. For you to say that black politicians cannot pass the purity test. Baby, we're not talking about somebody being Jesus. We're not talking about somebody being perfect. We're talking about people who would not connect, who would not play ball with corrupt businesses, who's trying to buy our politicians. That's corruption. And politicians who's willing to let them buy them by lining up their pocket. Well, I ain't gonna do nothing for them. I'm just taking their money. Yeah, you're the worst kind of whore. Yeah, I said it. You're the worst kind of whore. Let me tell you something. You actually think you're gonna come in my hotel, I got y'all back page, Craigslist, whatever, and you gonna come in my hotel and saying I'm gonna take your money, but I ain't gonna do nothing. Nah, babe, I work too hard for my money. No, I expect you to go do something. I'm not going around giving money. If I was gonna do that, I'd go to Salvation Army, I'd go to some youth charity and give the money to them, not to you. So for you to say something stupid like this, Zerlina Maxwell, it makes you look like a hack too. But but I gotta realize who you are. You're the Director of Progressive Programming. Your job is to program progressives. Nah, baby, it ain't gonna work. Stop. And I don't care how beautiful you are and how cute you are. Look at that. It ain't gonna work. Sexist, I don't know what. God. All right, and then let me get this out the way. And I know we're going long. To call me a sexist when I voted for Jill Stein, a white woman, because I believe her policies are better, whether she got a snowball chance in hell, and more people are going to do that because it's the right thing to do. You vote for honest and integrity, and you don't let nobody shame you for it. The shame of you trying to shame me because I want people of integrity and honor in office. Where have we gone in this world where we'll support, we'll elevate, and we'll push corrupt people into office. And if we do something opposite, it's called purity's test. It's a no corruption test. But for her to say that the system is not for black people of color.
And the bottom line here is you need money to win an election.
All right, let me stop there. She said the structural difference is not in the favor for black politicians who want to run on a no corruption test. They call it purity. The structure has been there since the foundation of the world to put in supposedly honest and ethical politicians based on integrity and honor and a good track record of serving the people. That is not puritist. That's the way it's supposed to be. And what has happened is we're allowed for decades the lesser of two evil philosophy, and we keep getting evil. And we're so steep in evil or so steep in corruption that now you're feeling bad because people are expecting you to step up and represent with honor and integrity. And you can't do that because you sold out to it. Now, she said the fact of the matter is you need money to run an election. I agree with you. That's why we need to go back to public finances. And for us to keep putting corporate Democrats in office thinking that they're going to get rid of Citizen United when Citizen United is their best friend? You really think we're going to believe that? No. I'd rather support somebody who don't take corporate money, do not take PAC money, but get their money strictly from the people because they earned it. They went out there and bid for the people, and the people were excited about them. The people supported them like Bernie. And it can be done even with a black man and woman because of policies. That's who I'll support. So for you to sit here and say, young lady, that the system is against black people who's running for office to be pure, and we do need money, so what you're saying, we need money and we need to get it from any and everybody who give it to us. Yeah, we might have to do a little something. We might have to give it up a little bit for that money. We might have to be what people call on the streets prostitutes, because we're not going to think people, young lady, that these leaders are going in there and getting money and not give up anything. Really? This is politics. This ain't the Salvation Army. Let me keep going.
And if Kamala Harris needs to talk to some big money donors in order to win an election so that we can overturn Citizens United, because you can't do that unless you win an election.
You hear this? Kamala Harris need to talk to big money donors. That's why progressives don't want her. We want somebody who's going to talk to the people and get the money from the people and the people only. We realize that the reason our politicians today are not doing the will of the people is because they tied to these donors. These high, big money donors are the reason why these fools, these idiots, don't do anything for the people. They're bought out, they're sold out. Cory Booker, Deval Patrick, and yes, Kamala Harris are part of that crew. It's not just them, it's most of them. White, black, Chinese, it doesn't matter. Most of them that's in office got in that office because they got money from big money donors. And we're trying to say, stop. Leave those donors alone, because they don't expect something for nothing. That's not how it goes. Now, if you want to sell out to the people. We'll give you the money. So you want to call that a purity test? Because we're saying no money. If you take money, especially from Wall Street, from the pharmaceutical industry, from the military complex, you're bought out in our book. You can't serve two masters. You're going to hate one or love the other, as the scripture would say. And right now, you love your donors, and you're not doing nothing for us. And that is scripture coming to pass. So you can't do that unless you win the election. No, sister girl. No, young lady. If you could put that on a ballot in each state and forbid it in each state to run on, it don't have to be putting somebody in office to say no against it. No, all you have to do is find a way to strike it down through the Supreme Court, or you put it on the ballot in your state. And whatever state wins, they can't do it in that state. That's how you can cripple that. Putting people in office. You don't have to put people in office to push back on Citizens United. They're too much of a punk and a coward, and they're too sold out to do it anyway. Their money is too deep. And their best friend is Citizens United. And the best friend to Citizens United will become the best friend to Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Deval Patrick. 3 black politicians and any other politician, regardless of color. Nina Turner ain't going to take no money. She's black and she's a woman. Tulsi Gabbard.
I'm not opposed to that. I think that we need to give her an opportunity to shine or not shine.
Yeah.
We shouldn't undercut her before she even begins.
And
you can give her an opportunity to shine. But she already showed herself in the dark the moment she went into that meeting with the big donors. She could have said, look, I ain't going to. She could have went and did a press conference because Bernie Sanders would have did it. They wanted to have a meeting with me, the big money donors. I said, no, take your money, turn it sideways, and stick it up your behind. Bernie Sanders would have did that. Jill Stein would have did that. Jamil Baraka would have did that. Nina Turner would have did that. These are people I believe would have did that. Take your money. I don't need your corporate money. Take it. I'm not kissing your behind. I serve the people, not corporations. Don't need your big money. And yes, I am a black man. I am a black woman. I am a Jew. I'm Asian. I don't want your money. If you say something like that, you'll get more people supporting you than not.
Seeing a lot of people sort of going in and already sort of pre-litigating her, Jason, saying, well, you know, she was a prosecutor, so we can't trust her. We think that on prison issues, she's bad. Like, literally sort of setting her up and saying, well, she's already unacceptable.
And she is. Her record made her acceptable. Just like Hillary Clinton's record made her unacceptable. Donald Trump, he was unacceptable. And most of us did not vote for either one of them. We saw Jill Stein record, and we said, we'd rather have her because she is decent. She does have honor and integrity, at least as close as we can get. Nobody's perfect. Her platform is incredibly better than Bernie Sanders. It is Bernie Sanders' platform, but on steroids. I'd rather support her. But she ain't got a chance in heck, and you can't do that right now because it's going to cause us to get Trump. Let me tell you something. Stop with that crap. That crap don't work anymore. You can't use that. We're not going to do this. Ignore the third party because it's going to get us the other guy. We don't want neither one of you. We're going to support third party. I'm not putting my vote and my signature behind 2 corrupt politicians when I have a one that's of honor and integrity that I can, whether they got a long shot or not. I love underdog stories. Now, I'd rather push the underdog than push these 2 corrupt politicians. And that's the name of the game right here. It's not purist. It's a corruption test.
Here's the thing, Joy, and I think this is the part that some people on the left have already forgotten. Kamala Harris has her own Bayhive, right? Like, I mean, there are people who protect her and who love her to death. She is...
She does. Who protect her? She got her own beehive. Her beehive is not bigger than the progressive. We don't care. We'll push up against the beehive. We'll go back and forth with them. You can go in the defense of her all you want. She's not it for me, and she's not going to get my vote because I know her record. I know her, where she came from. And a person to let a person like Mnuchin go and then end up getting taking money from them? Really? I supposed to support that cat? She failed the purity test. No, I mean, she passed the corruption test. The moment she had a chance to put Mnuchin in jail, or at least fine him, and we find out that he donated to her campaign, she failed the purity test. Actually, she passed the corruption test. She failed our no corruption test. Barack Obama did the same thing. Suppose they had come down hard on Wall Street. We're going to put sanctions. We're going to apply pressure. And we're going to come down hard on Wall Street. Well, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to slap on the wrist and fine them. And I'm going to continue to let them bail themselves out. Yep, I know the American people need to bail themselves out first, but the American people wait. The best way to bail them out is bail out these Wall Street donors. Republican. In the moment the 2012 election came, you look at his biggest donors, they were Wall Street. Failed the no corruption test. And that's why I didn't vote for him. And that's why I didn't vote for Mitt Romney. That's why, again, I voted for Jill Stein. Now, I don't have to tell you who I voted for, but I'm proud to tell you. Why? Because she passed the so-called purity test. All right, so he's saying she have her own beehive. Who gives a crap? A beehive is so small in a big world.
She is the one name that all my friends and family is like, you think she's going to run? You think she's going to run?
Most people I know don't even know who Kamala Harris is. They just hearing about her. They don't know who she is. And, but yeah, because she's black and Asian, they'll support her. Just because she's black and Asian. And that would be a motivation for me too, because I like to see people come up. But I don't want to see people come up when they have a track record of legislating horribly. I don't care who you are. I'd rather have a person that's white, that's Chinese, that's black, that has a track record of really, really putting themselves on the helms or putting themselves in the hands of the people versus big money donors, no matter who you are. I'll pick them over a black man and woman who have sold out to corporate interests. Because it's not about the color, it's about who you belong to. Stephen was blacker than they come. But he was sold out to Mr. Kennedy, and he oppressed other black people, whether it was in the house or on the field.
She is the one name that all my friends and family is like, you think she's going to run? You think she's going to run? And rather than criticizing that, and rather than saying, and look, when you're a state prosecutor, there's going to be some issues, the Democrats should be embracing anyone who elicits that level of excitement. If you ask Democrats now, it's Bernie Sanders or Kamala Harris. So rather than being critical, I completely agree with Zerlina. Let her do her job. Yeah. Let her build her resume up, because the Democrats are going to need as many stars as possible to go against Trump in 2020.
And how?
First of all, let me remind you, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I vote individually on the person. I voted Democrats in. I voted Greens in. I voted Republicans in. And how do I vote? I vote based on the so-called purity test, no corruption, and their track record. I don't do it by party. I can give a crap about parties. I think parties are a division. It's a new form of segregation. I hate it. I loathe it. I am not a fan of parties. I am a fan of voting blocks. I'm a fan of people coming around. The people individually come together around one agenda, letting these politicians, no matter what party they are, know that if you don't provide us this, if you don't campaign and legislate on this, you're not going to get our vote. And if for some reason you happen to get my vote and you don't ask for it again. You got one shot, as Eminem would say, and you better make it a good one. So for them to sit there and say, give her chance on, look, why? I mean, I am for Bernie Sanders having competition. Make sure your competition is on that Bernie Sanders level or better. Make sure they don't take corporate money. Make sure they're hard on Wall Street. Make sure that they full universal health care, for low-cost education or no-cost education. Make sure they're better than Sanders, and Sanders being Sanders. Jill Stein is better than Sanders in being Sanders, but she just don't have the platform that Sanders have now. Sanders didn't have that platform. He built it, and Jill Stein can build it. So make sure you have somebody that's going to be better than Sanders, not worse. I'm telling you right now, if they're not going to be better than Sanders in policies, then they have no chance of winning. Sure, run them. I don't give a crap if you run them. But don't get mad when we critique them and call them out on their BS. Don't get mad, because that's what we're supposed to do. And we're going to educate other people on this person. Just like you're trying to educate people on Bernie Sanders, Joy Reid, because we know you don't like him. He's not a Democrat. You can't stand him. You can't stand Nina Turner. I want to see you have Nina Turner on your show. You won't. Why? Because she is your worst nightmare. She'll be all in your grill. Ask Tamron Hall. All right, let's keep going. Now, she's going to go to one of the most vile, sickest, disgusting politicians I've ever met in my life, who was a Bernie Sanders back in 2004, but he ended up selling out, becoming a lobbyist for the medical industry.
And Howard Dean, you've been on sort of both sides of this. I mean, the Howard Dean phenomenon in 2004 was genuine. I mean, you were the outsider guy who was saying you were representing the Democratic wing of the Democratic Party. And then you sort of eventually got to the point where you were being attacked by some of the people from the progressive wing saying, well, you're establishment now. So this line between who's establishment and who's insurgent kind of gets blurred. You know, is there any pleasing a certain set of progressives who essentially think anyone who isn't Bernie Sanders is not progressive enough?
Point is, he's a loser. That cost him the election. I don't know why, but the establishment took that and smeared him, and he lost. If anybody should be standing up for Bernie Sanders in the progressive wing, it should be him, because he got shut down. He got stabbed by his own party, just like Bernie, just like Keith Ellison, just like Kimberly Ellis, and anybody else who tends to run against a corporate politician who can't pass the no corruption test, which you call purities. Another alt-right Democrat. But no, he gets up here and tries to smear us. In the world of progressives, a lot of progressives are not 100% behind Bernie. Bernie Sanders does not represent progressives. He is a representative, but he is not our leader. He's one of our leaders. He's the most popular, and he has the most power. But there's other leaders besides him, and I've gone over their names. And you still don't understand that most progressives are not in the Democratic Party. So you can't say the progressives, the Bernie Sanders wing of the Democratic Party. That wing is most of your party, and that wing does not represent the whole of progressives who are not in favor of corporatism or corporatism in politics. They are anti-establishment. And they are doing an insurgency whether you like it or not. And this party is either going to go full progressive, full left, or it's going to die. They're going to take over. I can't say the party, and to my other party people who watch this, I can't say it's impossible to take over the Democratic Party, because Jeremy Corbyn is taking over that party in the UK. He is. The party wasn't that way at first, but he mobilized so many people behind that party that it pushed that party to go left. And right now, the populism is on an all-time high, and it looks like he's going to get some things done. Now, I see that happening with Bernie Sanders, as long as he stands their ground, and as long as progressives in the Democratic Party don't buy this bull crap, you're going to be fine. I will see you more of our progressives in general as our partners in this than the enemy. But don't you dare mistake that the progressive wings are Democratic. No, the progressive, there's a progressive wing in the Democratic Party, and that's all it is. No, that's just a wing in your party. Progressives are all over the political spectrum, and majority are not in your party, Joy Reid. Let's hear what Howard the Coward screamed like a biatch Dean says.
It's not so much about Bernie Sanders. This has been going on forever in the left. First of all, let's remember the vast majority of Bernie Sanders supporters ended up supporting Hillary Clinton.
Correct.
All right, let me stop you right there. Both of you, Joy Reid and Howard Dean. If the vast majority of Bernie Sanders supporters supported Hillary Clinton, she would have won. And she would have won by a landslide. So no lying cowardice, Howard Dean. You and Joy sitting up there lying through your freaking teeth. If majority of the Bernie Sanders wing supported Hillary Clinton, she would have won. I keep telling you, majority of Bernie Sanders base are not Democrats. And they don't want to be a Democrat, and you made it even worse for them to ever even thinking about becoming a Democrat with your cheating and collusion for Hillary to win the nomination. So no, had the Bernie Sanders wing, even half of it, even a quarter of it, supported Hillary Clinton, she would have won. But no, majority of Bernie Sanders supporters did not support Hillary Clinton, and that's why she lost. Stop lying through your teeth and tell the truth. Bunch of liars, man. That's why we need to have a purity test. We're tired of politicians lying. We need politicians that's going to tell us the truth. You're lying. Oh, God.
And that's what's going to happen every time. We've got to come together. We can't have this stuff.
That's what's going to have to happen every time, and coming together. So
there has always been a section of the left, which I call as the whiny party. The party.
there they go. The ones that want to whine and just be pure. Well, first of all, it seems like you guys are the one whining. It seems like you're the one crying. It seems like you're the one that's upset because we didn't support your golden girl. We didn't support your golden girl or this fool called Trump. Lord, forgive me. I want to say good things about my president, but it is so hard. And yes, I hate to say it is our president, progressives. So start with this not my president crap. You may not acknowledge him, but he is. Howard Dean, dude, it shows how much you have sold out because you were Bernie Sanders and you got screwed by those people. And instead of defending, you called them the whiny bunch. Joy Reid is crying. She looked like a nutcase, talking about this Russia, mad at Bernie. She think Bernie won, and she hate Bernie because she think Bernie is the reason why Hillary lost. No, Hillary is the reason why Democrats didn't win. You had Bernie. You had him, and you still got him, and you still complaining, whining, crying, bitching, and moaning. Yeah, I said the word bitch. Bitch is a female dog. Forgive me, Lord. You're whining and crying. You're the one whining. Howard Dean, you're a whiner. Joy Reid, you're a whiner. Rachel Maddow, you're a whiner. You're the one or the whining party. You're crying because Bernie Sanders is growing. The popularity is growing. If it weren't for him, you would be dead as a party. He's trying to breathe life into you. We're trying to tell him, look, stop. They're dead. It's over with. Son, there's no post. It's okay. Let them go. All right? We need to go and produce life. We don't need to continue to try to breathe life in something that's dead. There's life other places. You're the one whining. You're the one that's crying. You're the one complaining. You're the one that's moaning. It's evidence right in this piece. We're not whining. We're letting you know what we want. We're letting you know what we expect. And we're letting you know that if you don't provide it, you can forget our vote. We're strong, we're secure, and we're bold. And we're not compromising. We're not taking sides. We're taking over. And either you do whatever Bernie tell you to do, or we're going to find somebody who's going to support our positions instead of yours. So you're the one crying. You're the one whining. Listen to you.
That doesn't really want to win. They just want to be pure. And if they go down swinging purely, then that's fine. Well, the problem with that is it leaves behind the people who really need their help. If we're going to have a single payer or Medicare for all or whatever we're going to have.
Bottom line is most of you are not. Why? Especially you, Howard Dean. It's not going to happen because your biggest pockets, your biggest paycheck come from the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry. You're a doctor and a lobbyist. A doctor and a lobbyist, Doc. And for you to come up here to be so condescending on the people who probably would have supported you when you ran until you holler and open your mouth and say, yeah! And that was the scream of death. Yeah! You sound, I mean, you know, that old wimpy, whiny, yeah!
Or whatever we're going to have in health care that covers every American, as every other industrialized country have, then we all have to pull together. And people who sit out or crank on some candidate because they did this or that, it wasn't to their purity test, are basically turning their back on the very people they pretend to represent. So I don't have a lot of patience with this wing of the Progressive Party, and this is a lot of this is a media creation. The media sees conflict, it creates this to-do. There are not a lot of people that feel the way that you all described about Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
You know, I think we just have to get a life and pull together and do what's right for the country instead of having these silly fights among ourselves, which I have to say are perpetrated in part by the media.
No, and it is true because, you know, the Mike article and the Week article basically quoted the same three people.
Exactly.
Right. They're not quoting broad
Right,
swaths of
exactly.
people. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I think
Howard Dean. Dude. Shut up. Be quiet. Shut your mouth. You condescending millionaire lobbyist with a bunch of money in your pocket, kissing up to your bosses, and your job is to advocate against single parent. Now, you keep saying the progressive wing. Progressives are not a wing. We're a body. And we're bigger than the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and pretty much combined. So for you to ignore that, and for you to continue to ignore the fact that progressives are not your party. Most of the progressives are outside of your party. I thought you were Dr. Smart. A piece of sludge on the ground got more brains than you. They're not part of your party. And they don't have to do whatever you do. And they're huge and big. And if anything, if you want to see good things happen for you, you need to get on their horse. And we have no problem coming together, but the problem is you got to come together with us. We're in the lead, not you. We have come together on your philosophy, on your principles, and it got us nothing, nowhere. While you still collecting your money from your big donors, you're getting rich, yet you still have health care, and you yourself still getting a check for being a senator, and you haven't been a senator in a long time. So the thing is, we have no patience with you, Doc. Who are you compared to us? Now, I'm a genuine loving person, but I got to call it like it is. Howard has become a coward. His last name is Dean, and he loved to scream like a little biatch. I say biatch, B-I-Y-O-C-H. And he's whining and complaining, saying that we're whining and complaining. That's the talking point, Howard the coward. You're trying to make it seem like just because you said it, do your polling, Doc. Most people are not buying Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
I think we just have to get a life and pull together and do what's right for the country instead of having these silly fights among ourselves, which I have to say are perpetrated in part by the media.
No, and it is true because, the Mike article and the Week article basically quoted the same three people.
Exactly.
Right. They're not quoting broad
Right,
swaths
exactly.
of people. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I think
Whining, stop fighting, and get together. You're whining and you're fighting us, and you expect us to get together after you cheated. Your party is in corruption. Okay, let me finish this, and then I'm done.
Because, the Mike article and the Week article basically quoted the same three people.
Exactly.
Right. They're not quoting broad
Right,
swaths
exactly.
of people. Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
think to Howard's point, it's really important to understand that the people who were like, well, I don't like Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, so I'm voting third party. Thank you very much. Now we have President Donald Trump.
No, thank you very much. We got Donald Trump because your party cheated and colluded Bernie Sanders. Your freaking party cheated and colluded Bernie Sanders. That's why we got Donald Trump. Your party cheated and colluded, and that's why we got Donald Trump. We're not part of your party, so we don't need to come together for Jack. Most of us are for a third party, and we're going to continue to build a third party, whether you like it or not. We're not going to come together under your freaking agenda when it's anti-people and anti the will of the people. When you become for the will of the people, exercise and legislate for the will of the people, and not for the will of the donor, when you pass the no corruption test, then we'll come together. But it's not going to be on your terms, it's going to be on our terms. Howard the Coward Dean. And for this young lady to make this statement that for those who say, I don't like Hillary and I don't like Trump, I'm going third party, that's their right, sister. If you guys are not strong enough to go get more people on your side, if you're not smart enough to cater toward the people, that's your fault, not theirs. They are not supposed to vote for who you think they should vote for. They're going to vote for who they believe is better to run their country. And if they find a person on the third party under the rock that's honorable, full of honor, integrity, and really serve the people and have a track record, whether it's an activist or a politician, they have a right to support that. They have a right to support the underdog. Even in the face of a Trump, they still have a right to do it. And right now, your choices was horrible. You decide to stab Bernie Sanders in the back and kill his candidacy to push Hillary Clinton, who is a mini version of Trump. She is horrible in some areas that he wouldn't be horrible, and he is horrible in a lot of areas that she probably wouldn't have been horrible. We got two candidates, both were under FBI investigation. That's nowhere near pretty. And you want us to support that. And you're going to call us purists if we don't support that. No. Your party is reaping with corruption. They can't pass the no corruption test. We're looking for people who can pass the no corruption test. It's not about purity. No corruption. Trump, steep in corruption. Clinton, steep in corruption. And if you want to support that, that's on you. There was somebody else running, two other people that was not involved in those things, but you choose not to even look at them or giving them a shot because you're trying to fight between keeping two corrupt politicians, putting two corrupt politicians in office. You are focusing on putting corrupt people in office when real people, the so-called Sanders wing, the progressive wing, which is not a wing, it's a huge body bigger than your party and bigger than the Republican Party, that you're neglecting. You better wake up. They're bigger than you, and they're growing every day. And a lot of people leaving your party, joining them. They're not leaving, joining you guys. Check your numbers. And for you to condescend, point the finger, cry and complain because they won't follow us, they won't come together with us against Trump, that's your fault. You the one cheated, colluded, and railroad Bernie Sanders. And don't you dare think people are going to support you after you've done an unethical, horrible crap like that. You're worse than Russia or any other country. You stabbed your own in the back. Your own. And you want people to follow behind you.
And the people who are being most impacted by the policies are people of color and lower income people. And if you are truly progressive, you don't want a President Donald Trump because you're supposed to care about those marginalized people.
And the big old black elephant in the room. Okay.
All right, let me stop there. If we're truly progressive, and if you're truly progressive, you would have called Clinton out and the DNC out on your cheating. No, instead of it, you're going to continue to try to act like you're the on a high horse of politics. That we're better. You're not better when you stab your own and you cheat and you collude and you pick the candidates and it's not the people picking the candidate. We're going to pick them, but we want you to support them. It don't work like that, baby. It don't work like that.
Let's talk about the big old black elephant in the room. Okay, these are a lot of African Americans, and the future of the Democratic Party is going to have to be black. It's going to have to be female. It's going to have to be brown. And this fear, I hear this all the time from Democrats. This fear that's like, look, if we're going to lose these working class white voters, look, Democrats have been losing white people for years.
Right.
It's not going to be any worse if you have Cory Booker.
More like decades.
Right.
Yeah, since Lyndon Johnson. Jason Johnson, Zerlina Maxwell, Howard Dean. I wish we had more time. We'll bring you guys back to do it again. Up next, the movie that Rolling Stone called.
Because we care about our community, because we care about indigenous people, because we care about blacks. You know, there was a party that's running on reparations for blacks, and you guys wouldn't even touch it. Hillary Clinton said she wouldn't touch it. Bernie Sanders said he wouldn't even touch it. There are other people that's running on helping people more than your party. And just because you're big in number and money doesn't mean you get to ride the high horse. So stop with that if you care about people. If you care about blacks coming up, white coming up, support us. Baby, Stephen don't like the black people. Stephen don't like the field Negroes, and Stephen don't really like the house Negroes. Stephen loved Mr. Candy. He do anything for Candy. Ah, Candy! Candy gets shot. He's screaming, knocking everybody down, even while they're shooting to get to Mr. Candy. He wouldn't have did that for one of his slaves. That's what you guys doing in this piece right here. You're a bunch of Stevens hollering, oh, the DNC. Doing whatever you can to protect them. When here's a man right now is trying to help you liberate yourself. Here's people right now, the progressive wing of the party is trying to help you liberate yourself, but you choose to crap on them to continue to hold on and kiss Mr. Candy, the DNC, and the Democratic elite. You guys better wake up. If it wasn't for Bernie Sanders, you would be a dead party. Nobody would really support you. Most of the people would go outside the party, and they still are. Here's the ticket. You don't follow. We not follow. Stop trying to tell us to follow you, and you follow us. There's a People Manifesto going around, and it basically said, if you're not for these things, we're not going to support you. But if you are, plain and simple, we'll throw our support around you. Get your candidates to rally around this. Because if they're not going to rally around this agenda, they can forget about our vote. But Trump only can have 8 years. And the way you guys going it, you can end the Trump situation right now by pushing Bernie first, upholding Bernie, and being happy that he may run, or Nina Turner, or Tulsi Gabbard, okay, or Jill Stein, or Jamu Baraka. These people are on your side. They're not your enemy. Yep, they may be in another party, but it's about the agenda. You don't get to control the agenda in America, Democratic Party. We people do. And right now, you haven't been on our side in a while. Even though you talk the trash like you are, you're not. But what about Trump? What about you and Trump? Trump is Mr. Candy, and the entire DNC party is Stephen. We're trying to get off the plantation and get our 40 acres in the mule, which we still, as black people, have not got.
And the future of the Democratic Party is going to have to be black. It's going to have to be female. It's going to have to be brown. And this fear, I hear this all the time from Democrats, this fear that's like, look, we're going to lose these working class white voters. Look, Democrats have been losing white people for years. Right. It's not going to be any worse if you have Cory Booker.
Yeah, since Lyndon Johnson. Jason Johnson's Arlena Maxwell, Howard Dean. Wish we had more time. We'll bring you guys back and do it again. Up next.
All right, that's that. So you got 3 black people and a white guy on the panel, pushing that if you care about black people, minority issues, people issues, you'll support a party who will cheat and collude and stab their own in the back to continue to preach and teach corporatism. We only say we'll do things for you, but we're not going to do anything for you, and give you every excuse in the book to support them. They're whining. They're the one complaining. They're the one frustrated because we got these people who have woken up and realized how crooked you are. And for you to expect them to go back in a stupor or sleeper and go back to sleep, let us put you back to sleep. You were asleep for 8 years. We're going to try to get you back to sleep by putting a Kamala Harris in, Deval Patrick or Cory Booker, all corporatists, all that has kissed up to the donors over the people. Stop. It's not about who you put up. You can put up all the black people you want. We're going to look at their record. And their record shows corporatism and corruption, or extending an olive branch to corruption, or shaking a hand with corruption, slapping the wrist of corruption, or doing the bidding of corrupt corporation politicians. Doesn't matter. They failed our so-called purity test, which is really the no corruption test. If you do not pass our no corruption test in politics, you can forget about us supporting you. We're going to find somebody, and we have a lot of people. We don't have to look hard. We're going to find somebody. And like I said, we don't have to look hard. That's going to really work for the people. That's not going to take PAC money, corporate money, and none of that stuff. That's really going to do the bidding of the people. That one who believes, who don't believe that bull crap, that really believes that, hey, I believe we can win with the people help. Why? Because we're going to push policies that people across the board, no matter what color, age, creed, whatever, we're going to push the policies that they support. And if they support it and we push what they want, they're going to finance us and they're going to push us to victory. It happened in the Democratic Party with Bernie, and the only reason that he lost was you stabbed him in the back. We're not going to let you do that to us again. This is BOBTV. Progressives are uniting, and we're not uniting to be led by Democrats. We're uniting to be led by true progressives. We don't give a crap about parties. We care about people and policies only. And if you're not going to push people-driven policies, if you're not going to promote it, declare it, preach it, and teach it, and discount, disregard, disavow corporate politicians and money in politics, now you don't get our support. Down there below is the People's Manifesto. Read it. There's the People Pack. The People Manifesto is designed for you to copy and hand it to every person that say they want your vote. And you basically says, if you say, are you for this? Are you for that? Are you for that? Are you for that? If they say no, then you can make a decision and say, if you're not going to do this, forget our vote. That's how precious your vote is. If you're not going to do these things for us, forget about it. If you are, we'll support you. Democrats, Joy Reid, all you hacks, it's simple. Support this, you'll win. Don't support this, you'll lose. If we get Trump for 2020, it's because you made a decision not to support the people and the issues that matter to them. I'm BOBTV, Freedom on Fire. I'll at you later. Peace.
With Freedom on Fire and Rob Report, I want to thank you for watching the webcast. Make sure you share these segments all across your social media network. Like and share, subscribe, and maybe invite a couple other people to do the same thing. You make the difference. I also want to thank you for those who support this channel through Patreon, whether it's 50 cents to $50 million. It goes right back into what we do here. So like the lights that you're looking at right now, that's because of something that you did. So I really appreciate it. I want to thank my man Vegematic for the Blue Yeti mic, one of the top microphones out right now. He knew I needed the mic, so he blessed me with it. So all of you guys make the difference into this channel growing, and I really want to appreciate you for that. Also, by all means, again, continue to share your comments at the bottom of each video. Just don't get so visceral to the people who may disagree with me or may disagree with you. This calling out name stuff, that's not for this channel. So please try not to call people names, personal names. Now you can call some of the stuff they talk about crap. I say that. But just don't attack people personally. Words really hurt when you start attacking people personally, because these people really believe these things, and you're not gonna take away their belief by calling them names. So please don't do that on this channel. But nevertheless, I appreciate you guys. We're shooting for 2,000 now, so I need your help. So as my pastor would say, reach one, teach one. I mean, let's reach out. You got the information. Make sure you share with other people and try to get them to subscribe to the channel so we can grow and expand. Again, the money, the finances that you give in your Patreon account, it goes into equipment. So I want to thank you for personally helping this endeavor grow. I'm BOBTV, Freedom on Fire, Rob Report. Peace.